what, 7 weeks left, maybe 6 weeks left of
Yeah,
it
we
before
were
they go to
talking
school.
about that. It's halfway through the summer already. All righty.
Oh,
And we are live. Welcome to the BrainDrive weekly development call. Our mission here at BrainDrive is to make it easy to build, control, and benefit from your own AI system. And this is the call where we update on our progress from last week and decide what we're going to be working on in the coming weeks. We do these calls every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So we encourage you to join us live here on YouTube. And we also post these recordings in our community forums at community.braindrive.ai. I'm Dave Waring, and I handle the operations side here at BrainDrive.
and I'm David Jones, and I handle the tech side of the house.
Awesome. So we always like to start off with the celebrations of any progress or things that we're hyped up about from the previous week, and followed by any challenges, and then we'll jump into progress on our action items from last week and setting the action items for the coming week. So you want to kick us off, Dave?
I managed to wade my through with documentation. As with any coder, it's not my favorite thing to do ever. It's almost like looking back. And when you're coding, you never want to look back. You just want to push forward all the time. But it has to be done so people can figure out what's going on and what's been done. So it
Right.
is a very critical part, and us trying to get developers on, it was more important than ever to get the documentation out that's needed for them to do stuff, and then for us to learn from that communication and to build a documentation system and communication flow that will help other developers pick up and get us running. So that was the first challenge of the week right there. And of course, the success made it through it a little bit. And then Thursday, of course, got to stop and go back to coding. And that you will see by the pull requests was very fruitful. A lot of new functionality that was introduced over the weekend. And when we go over through the dev portion, I will show everybody what we got done over the
Aw-
weekend.
Awesome. So from my side, a celebration is I've got a compliment from Dave on my technical explanation to one of our developers. So I feel like, at least from a big picture side, I started to grasp, how to talk to developers about this from a high level standpoint. On the challenge side, then Dave and I jumped into the sort of ground level of the technology, and we had a great conversation on that. But I'm still struggling a little bit, to understand, how to talk to developers about sort of the ground level of this. And the good news is with AI and having Dave here that I can just, ask all my questions
Yep.
to. I'm coming up the curve quickly, but it's definitely it took me a long time to come up with a two-page explanation that we'll cover today and see if I'm in the ballpark or not with that.
Just from the fact that I could through while you were talking with him, I could put my feet up.
Yeah.
I didn't have to say a single word at all. It was just I put my feet up. You had all the right buzzwords that were necessary to this is what we're doing. You understood the concepts in place, and that is a struggle for people who are not technical.
Right.
So that's why I was like, "Hey, we're good.
Yeah.
You can sell this all day long now."
Awesome. So with that, we will jump into the roadmap. Let me
Yep.
just bring that up real quick. Let's go to the BrainDrive GitHub. Actually, it's on the agenda too. I should probably just
Yep.
go to it from there. Let's see. Just one second here.
Let's see. Open link. There we go.
All right. So this is our roadmap, which is in
Yep.
our the root directory of our GitHub, and we're working towards a V1 release, which is for our Katie Carter persona, which is we've defined as excuse me, as a content creator that wants to use their own AI system to create and market their content.
Hmm.
And we're in the process of working on builds for our Adam Carter persona, which is our developer persona who wants to build plugins on top of BrainDrive and getting that all ready because we need some more developer help to build this V1 version for Katie Carter. So we're at version zero point 0.5 of that, and that's what Dave was working on, has been working on for the last couple weeks, as well as documentation around that. How's that going, Dave?
That's going good. We have the plugin data that has been completed, so that the plugins can now save certain pieces of information if necessary. And we have personas done, which we will see today in action.
Awesome.
Yep,
Do you want to just jump into showing
sure.
off what you did?
Sure. Let's go ahead and move this. There's the roadmap. There's that. You can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Well, as you can see, we've added the new page personas. I have went ahead and added two myself. And right now they are very system centric. One of the next pushes after I done testing personas and I make sure I'm happy with everything will be then pushing BrainDrive Concierge persona to when you install the system, you will automatically have it. As we can go through here, edit. You can see it enables you. You can put your own name. I haven't tested Avatar, but it should be working. But I don't know yet, so I'm not going that far. Brief description so that when you're looking at it from a list point of view, you can see what's going on. The system prompt, the most pertinent properties or parameters, you can set them. And then, of course, what your sample greeting you would like for this personality to be basically does everything else. And for sorting, and if you want to find this later, you can add tags so that if you had multiple BrainDrive concierge, you can quickly find them and go to the one you're looking for.
Wow,
Uh,
this is awesome.
sure.
So, do you want to just do like a little bit of a big picture of like what personas are and why they have their own section within BrainDrive?
Yeah. Not just the BrainDrive chat that we're working on, but basically anything that you do with an AI or an LLM, use the words replaceable. It, it it isn't just the model and how the model was trained. The first line of, I want to say, coercing the model to do what you want, but guiding is probably a better word. Guardrails is another good word for that, is aligning the model to say, hey, I'm going to ask you questions pertaining to X. And that way, initially, before it even gets to your question, it is already, for lack of better words, filtering the responses to be about X first. And this is where personas come in because it allows you to set up that BrainDrive Concierge, Jimmy, whatever persona you want to have, you can automatically set up that your task is to accomplish X and everything's set up for you. If you want to deal with a larger context window, you can do that. The temperature, which kind of hammers on creativity or lack of creativity, how many options are available in the tokenize or when it figures out what its response is going to be, you can actually tweak those little things. And especially if you are experimenting, the ability to easily go in and tweak these settings becomes crucial because then it's just a matter of finding the one you want, gives you the results you like, and then you can move forward.
And
This will,
so, for
go ahead.
Katie Carter, for example, how might Katie use personas?
Well, the first way will be when somebody develops a page that Katie wants to use. The developer could have already went through this work of fine-tuning a good system prompt and the parameters for his page to do what is necessary. Katie doesn't have to worry about that now. Katie just simply downloads a plugin. This will be set up so that if you're a page developer and you created a page, it'll set up the persona you want for your page. It'll be there for Katie to use, and Katie won't have to do anything. Katie will just be Katie.
Right. And so, for example, if we wanted Katie to have a page that she is using to edit, articles, someone or Katie herself could use personas to give the system prompt of we want you to act as an editor for these articles and talk about the style, guide and all
Yeah,
that type of
exactly.
stuff
Yeah.
within the
For
yep.
so she wouldn't have to do it with each prompt. It will be the system prompt is a step above that. She could already even put her style guide, those kind of pieces of information. So it will always be there. And that's one of the differences between a user prompt, which you put in saying, hello, what are you doing today? Versus a system prompt. The system prompt will always be there. So it will always almost have that right in context that these are the rules that I follow. And so
Got
if
it.
you started with a user prompt and let's say you got to 13,000 tokens and you're beyond the context window, that system prompt is still there.
Yep. Yep. So you don't have to feed it back in every time. Cool. You
Yep.
want to just stop sharing for just a moment?
Yep.
And so it looks like from this that this is built into the core, right? Like this
Yes.
isn't like a separate thing. And I know that you debated a little bit about how you wanted to integrate this in the system. Can
Yep.
you talk about why you decided to integrate it into the core?
Well, of course, we want to do everything so that if it should be or could be, or the potential for it to be a plugin was a benefit, we always wanted to lean that direction so that somebody else can come behind us and do something. But especially when you look at from version one, perhaps even up to version two, people will be doing the low-hanging fruit, of course. Let's do a page. They're not going to be trying to actually change the core yet and things of that nature. So to make it easier for everybody, rather than them looking at needing a plugin or thinking, okay, I need to do something with personas or I need a system prompt. The system prompt is part of the core, or the personas are part of the core. The only thing they have to do is a developer, a page developer, plugin developer, owner, builder. You just go, I'm developing this, and this is what I want the persona to be. So when your plugin installs, it just adds the data. It doesn't have to create a system, doesn't have to have another plugin, doesn't have to check for a plugin. It's there for them to use. Everybody will have the same system to use. And then we will look at as we move across in versions whether it's time to extract it, build a plugin for it, and move forward, or do we just keep it as a personas in the core and move forward? But that'll be like a community discussion based on what all the developers, owners, page builders all think will be good for the life cycle of the application.
Right. And I mean, would it be accurate also to say anyone that's using AI and wants to kind of own and control that AI is going to want to have access to these settings? And
Yes,
so, yeah,
without a doubt. It's like
yeah,
I couldn't think of it using an AI, especially local, because that's part of the novelty of it is, and also the power is the fact of when it's local, when you're able to touch and do everything. Okay, let's get down to the actual numbers that's going to make this thing sing or flop.
yeah.
And you get to tweak that. And you see, it's like, and when you can play with that, like the temperature is a good example. When you can play with a model and you can have the same question, and then you start moving the temperature from, let's say, point 0.1, point 0.2, point 0.3, and you can watch the answers change and evolve from that and watch how an AI kind of can blossom and falter. But that's how you learn.
Got it. All right, great. You want to share again? Can you
Yep.
just show, assuming it's functioning already, like the you like use one of these personas?
Yep. Now, for the sake of, as you can tell, there's your next thing. I have went ahead and updated BrainDrive chat. I know we're going to have a discussion on where the drop downs exist and stuff like that because we
Right.
had one 2 weeks ago. I didn't recall all the details. So for the sake of testing, I was like, I'm just adding personas and we're going to move along.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think just to give an initial
Yep.
reaction here, to me, model and persona go together as those two separate like it makes sense to have them
Yep.
separate, obviously. Gosh, I got a tickle in my throat. Uh, and it makes sense to have them at the top, right? It's
Yep.
like this is the intelligence and this is the personality. Makes a lot of sense. History, I think people are used to seeing that below the chat.
Yep.
I don't mind it at the top. Like it's fine, especially on desktop, but I think once we start getting more into mobile and
Yep.
all of that, like there's just going to be too much there at the top. So I would say put history below the chat. But again, this can be a user preference, right?
Yep.
Because they can move it around however they want because BrainDrive is completely customizable.
Yeah, on this one they cannot. It's kind of hard coded because it's just one plugin covering the screen.
Right. But if they
However,
wanted
there's
to, they
yep,
can have, yeah, these
yeah,
these things each can also exist as disconnected plugin,
yep,
individual plugins. Like you've built this as one plugin, but if someone wanted to separate them out so they're multiple plugins and can move things around, that can also be done.
yep.
Great.
Okay, so now going forward, like I said, I don't have all the tweaks like this. It was more of a I needed something to test personas. If I tell it to do a new chat, and here's my Brain Drive Concierge, and I hit it, it'll automatically give me my greeting that I wanted it to have,
Cool.
and I'll say, let's see. Now I'm getting think tag, of course. That I don't. I know he said he worked on that. I'm not sure. Every question
Yeah.
I've put in, it's still giving it to me. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure if it's gonna be something I'm gonna look at on a back end to clean up myself yet, or take a look at the model and what can I do to help stop that.
Right, that's fine. Yeah, but you get the idea here
Yep.
is we've fine-tuned a model that is Brain Drive Concierge, and then you've set the persona. You want to just go into personas and on the left there, okay? And then if you go click in there,
Yep.
okay,
So
so great. And we
yes.
could make that much more detailed as
Yep.
we, yep.
Yeah, I didn't know. I only took the when I did the script for helping you to install the Brain Drive Concierge. That was a system prompt I had at the time. If he has an updated one to
Yeah.
help do that, I didn't have access to it. I didn't also didn't look very long. I was
How
coding.
long of a system like because I've heard like, as more of these system prompts leak and get released, etc.,
They get
that
big.
some of them are very long.
as as the context window has expanded, so has people's need to give more instructions in the system prompt. But as I was saying, how the system prompt sits over the user prompt, it's why they do that.
Right.
Because that's the information that the AI will always have access to while you're going through your entire conversation history with that during that dialogue. So they front load this so no matter what you ask along that conversation, this is priority. This is the guardrails for it to follow, and so it does.
And
And
will a longer system prompt slow down the chat or no?
no more than normal. And so the answer is yes, because the more tokens you have in your context window, the slower the AI, of course,
And
is
it's kind of
chuckling.
feeding that system prompt in
Yep,
every time, right?
yep, yes.
Yeah. So,
So there's a hit and miss. You play with it. That's what I said. This has to be a system where the person who's writing the persona has to be able to play with,
okay.
and not like a model file in Olama or something like that. It has to be accessible on the screen.
Okay. And do you want to just scroll
Yep.
down to the bottom here? Okay. Now, um, I'm assuming at some point this could be upgraded to include custom knowledge bases.
Yes, yes. This is just my initial. I'm getting started. But
Well,
as
that's
we,
a
but
big
we,
deal. I
yeah,
mean,
but as we're,
yeah, that gives the system prompts a big deal.
yeah,
So,
as we've both been talking, it's like in my head is already that at some point I want to be able to, when we get to knowledge bases and we start seriously looking at this, on that screen would be some type of interface so that you can, will it be an MCP or just a file that you hand it, which goes to the MCP? Something of that nature will be here. But even like this screen right now is not even done because I think this should be a tab so you don't have to scroll down. So each panel will have its own tab, and you'll be like the basic information, the system prompt information, the model
I
spec.
don't know. I don't know, Dave. I like it on all on one because
Uh,
to me it's like here it all is. You know what
Yeah,
I
no,
mean?
no, I got no disagreement. I just, hey, I'm open to however people want to do, but when I'm coding, it's just matter. Let's everything on front. Let's play
I
with it.
like it. In this case, I mean, I think everything that you have here, like I think where tabs make sense from a UX standpoint is, if you have something basic and then there's like that you have something basic that most people are going to want to do, and then you have a lot of advanced stuff that most people aren't going to want to do. Then put
Yep.
the advanced stuff on a tab. But for this, I think you're at least going to want to look at and consider each of the
Yep.
things that you have on the page here.
No, no, there's no doubt. That's why I was like, it wasn't a priority. It was a discussionary point. So it was like I went with, okay, this works, and everything else is open for alterations later. Um,
Got it.
a- and another example of like system prompts and what I was talking to you earlier, it's like uh, with Jimmy, I was having fun of as putting guardrails on Jimmy. And Jimmy is into Rubik's cubes and things of that nature. So that when you're talking with Jimmy, and we'll go over through here. Let's just go a fast model. I'm going to put Jimmy up here. Boom. And I'll just simply tell Jimmy hello.
And
And
this
then,
is cool because the way that you set, I think what you're showing here is the way that you've set this up is you can use the same persona with any model,
yep,
right? And you can see how Jimmy or BrainDrive Concierge performs across all the different models and what does it look like with a state of the art model and what does it look like with a 1 billion parameter model and all that.
yep. You can, like I said, you can. That's why it was when we were talking about where personas belong, what needs to be done there. It was like the model and persona has to be separate because when you get into playing, you want the ability to have two separate puzzle pieces there, not one.
Right. Right. Super cool.
One
And
issue
now
here.
if I
Okay.
wanted to have Jimmy, let's say that I have, I'm talking to Brain Drive Concierge a lot and I'm talking to Jimmy a lot. Can I just put them on a page and just have them there yet or no?
We are getting close to there.
Okay.
Right now that would require you take this plugin and you put it on a different page. What we don't have yet is the I'll call it the forcing that when this page comes up in this page, you can set it automatically. This is your model. This is your default persona. Go. Um,
Okay.
but that leaves a lot of room for developers and me. I'm just, hey, I was adding to the core. I'm getting it working right and those kind of things.
Got it. All right. Sweet. This looks awesome. Great
Uh,
work.
we're not done yet. We're just
Oh,
getting started.
ah, love it.
So let's go to installing. Um, for me, I'm developing and I'm installing. I get tired of having to go to GitHub for everything. We also, one of our things about being local is you do not have to be on the internet. So you could take a flash drive, you're at home, you're going up to camp where you have a computer but no internet because, hey, when you live in the woods, power is very different than internet access. So you can load the plugin or whatever you're doing on a thumb drive. You can come right here, drop the file there, and it will load it
Oh, wow.
just.
Also for our prepper community, which we think would love Brain Drive because it runs without an internet connection. If the grid goes down, but you
Yep.
got your solar in your computer, you're still rocking with your AI system even without any internet.
Yep. And this approach, we talked a little bit like dealing with the AI providers and all like that. The initial code deals with a very isolated solution, testing the concept, make sure it works. When you move to level 2 or tier 2 or outside of that initial bullseye, we get to where we are now. We're starting to come up with a unified installer so that when we get to marketplaces and all like that, we have the base code now in place to handle multiple install methods. So this is taking the installer now from the initial baby step to now a little more grown up in maturity testing. And then the next run will be marketplace.
Amazing. Super
Um,
cool.
and
Wow,
then
you were busy.
yeah, I was coding for a while. And then we moved into the migration of the database for when you upgrade and stuff like that. I noticed some issues there. So I went in and I will be handing you some documentation over it, but redid the entire migration of the database from one version to the next. Create a series of tools for users, developers to use to see if they have a problem, identify the problem, fix the problem, give us more information if a problem occurs so that we can help them. And like I said, the documentation for it to be online so people can work with that system.
Give me that one more time, that last piece.
I know, because you didn't expect any of this, right?
Yeah.
when I was coding last week, or actually when I was doing the personas and I moved over to creating the installer, I found an error in migrations. So
Okay.
so I stopped everything right there and I was like, okay, let's clean up migrations.
And
And
migrations is what?
is when you have your BrainDrive installed and it's working perfectly, and I come up with a new version, new install. I have some new features for people, and you download to get this running.
So
I
updating.
Yeah, well, nope. We're not touching updating. We're doing the step before that. Before that, when you update, migrations are going to have to take place because odds are I've changed the database in some
Right.
way.
Okay.
So, so I had to lock in a way where the migrations will handle seamlessly. Number one. Number two, in the event, because every system's different, every computer, every person, what they've installed is going to be different, a set of tools for users to easily ascertain if something went wrong, how did it go wrong, give them the information to tell me what went wrong so that we can correct this in a seamless manner other than getting it broke type thing. But yeah, it handles very well. You'll have documentation which can go online for users to be able to see the new commands available that are at the prompt. And we can get that started. And so then once I got that ready and got that working, it works seamlessly for me moving the migrations from personas to the installer. And then I was very happy camper 4 o'clock yesterday.
Nice. Awesome. So then on the roadmap, we can check off personas
Yep.
and then plug in
Uh,
data, the
yep. Plug
ability
it.
for plug in to put its own data.
I think so. I was going to say yes to that, except I want to check something to see if I actually finished it all or not. So that's the only
Okay.
thing I want to check. We do not have the constant state being saved, the page data, because I was waiting to get. That's why I went into the BrainDrive chat. Let's go to here, because now we have data to save.
Right.
So now I have a platform to test that functionality as I code it to make sure I got it right or wrong. So that's why it was like I bounced a little bit, but I really didn't. I was just hitting dominoes along the path to get me there.
Okay, great. This is awesome. Good stuff.
Yep.
All right. So anything else from your side from last week? That's a lot.
No, that was it. I put my feet up for most of the day. Other than that, I got to try out. I've been developing a new workflow for vibe coding, and I got to try it out with this code. Of when I was working through all this stuff. And as you can tell by the results, it was pretty smooth.
You want to stop sharing for a minute and talk
Okay.
about
Yep.
that or share whatever it
Uh,
is that you're doing?
yeah. I don't have to really share, but it's more of a like I said, it's a workflow. Because I've been reading a lot of articles lately of I don't know if you how much you're reading on the coding side, but you have of course, Cursor is going through a disaster right now.
What's going on with Cursor?
I'll call it an unforced error. It's communication. But they've had to change their pricing structure because of how Claude and Anthropic has been changing their pricing structure and forcing it to enterprise level. So nobody's getting a free lunch anymore on that side. So it makes me very happy we moved like we did because maybe we're just foreseeing something and like that and getting. But so you can tell the the companies that are locking you in right now with this development, Windsurf as well is falling into this category, and you have Cursor. They are being pounded by these price models because now they're passing it on to the users, and Cursor is you see people all over the place just dropping them
So
flat.
basically it used to be with Cursor that it was like a monthly fee and now they're
Yep.
doing it on a per token thing.
Yeah, and you run out of a limit usage really fast. In fact, people talk about it's like their monthly usage is over in the first day
Oh wow.
type. Yeah, it's like it's that aggressive. So
And
running on the wall there.
what are you using instead?
I use root code and OpenAI, and it really depends on what I'm doing, which one I use. If I have an issue to fix that's, I don't want to call it trivial or small, but let's just say it's on GitHub like an issue and all like that, I will hand it to OpenAI's Codex because that's what it does, and it deals very well with GitHub. So I hand it to it. It does whatever it's doing. There's nothing to watch really. It's like I'm going to get the results and I'm going to play with that next.
Okay.
With when on in an IDE environment, VS Code, I use root code and we use an API key. So we're not having any overhead for Cursor or Windsurf because root code is open source and like us, it's being built by developers type thing. And it's a phenomenal tool. It's free. How much can you can't really touch that one right there. But it more comes down to how you go about working with it, I think. It's like, so instead of just giving it a prompt in, like, let's say personas, and you just go, hey, we're going to build personas, and here's a table structure that I think you should use, la di da, please get it right. And that's where I think you see the articles come into play where they talk about developers are not working as fast as they thought they might be. And instead of getting a 20% bonus in time saved because they're using AI, they're talking about now it's a 19%.
And why do
But
you think that is again?
because I think they're using it wrong. What they're doing is they're trying to give it one prompt and saying, do the work.
Yeah.
Now, if you were dealing with a programmer, a fellow programmer, and you said, hey, you're doing personas today, get busy. I guarantee you, they before they got to their desk in their head, they made three mistakes,
Right.
and it wouldn't matter what you would have given them. It would, hey, write a PR for me.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It's going to make a mistake because of the fact that there's no two thoughts align. So what I do is I kind of start working on this little technique, and I don't know if it's what they call context engineering or whatever. My first thing is write a plan. We're going to do X. Create the plan in a markdown so that it can be reviewed before any line of code is being done. I feed it and I make sure it's like before, and I feed it the command structure, like where the root directory is, so I don't have accidental commands going off all over the place and like that. But I get a file back that tells me this is what the AI found in our code that it's going to alter. This is the new stuff it's going to play with. And guaranteed every time I find something that either A, it went off on a tangent, or B, me, it's like, oh, I didn't mention that. I wanted to do this as well. Or I see an opportunity for us to go, let's go a little further down in this direction. And we make sure we get that file right. And that becomes the roadmap for
Right.
for it to develop in its context window. Because then I get a phased approach, 1, 2, 3, 4, however many times it takes, and I give it the plan and I say, you're working on this phase. And it's fine-tuned now. It is targeted on one set of results, and its ability to succeed every time is probably like 95%.
Right.
Especially when you look at what I was able to finish between Thursday. Granted, I had a lot of ideas what I was doing with, but the pure fact that we were able to push that fast. And so far, I've only found one error. And in doing so, I found three other ones that existed that I cleaned up. So it's like I got one issue to clean up, and happy place.
All right, awesome. So basically, is that the big change that you made was making sure that you were doing the planning up front,
Yep.
or was there
Yep.
something else? That was the
No,
big one.
no, I go, that was the main thing. And I keep each plan as I'm going along. It's like that's what I told you. It's like Thursday. It's like I had tons of I got document files sitting all around. Some are half used. Some he did something I didn't like it or whatever like that. But it was like I have, and they're all there to be pulled from. So it's like so we make sure that it's like when we start putting code into place, and it's like, or when I take over, it's like we both have the same sheet of music to work from. And if I have to pull OpenAI into it, I can feed it to that. It doesn't, just because I switched from
Yeah.
Claude to OpenAI, that plan is still there in
It's kind
place.
of like a PRD, right? A product
Yep.
request document sort
Yep.
of thing, but specifically around the development of the
Of,
thing.
of that feature that you are
Yeah.
working on. Yep. And it's
Yep.
very targeted.
Yep. All right, cool. Yeah, no, I agree. I think spending the time up front would matter with the person, and it also matters with the AI to make sure everyone's clear on what it is that you want to accomplish, including yourself, because
Yeah.
oftentimes we think we have it clear, but once we actually try and write it down, it's a lot harder to put it into words than we would think it would be.
Yeah. The only hassle, or not hassle, the downside I've noticed is usually when I come up with something to code, and I call it candy in my head. And while I'm coding X, I'm thinking about the next problem. I'm thinking, I'm putting it in a box. I'm looking at it from every angle so I can ascertain every issue I'm going to find when I start coding on that problem. And I
Right.
write little notes and all like that. Now it's like I mean I breezed through three issues really or two features in one issue so fast. It's like I woke up Monday morning going, my brain hasn't caught up to know what I need to be working on today.
Right. Cool. All right, great. So that's awesome. So I don't know if you had a chance to look at it because I sent it to you right before the call. But Dave and I had a hour and 20-minute conversation going through some more of the ground level technology of BrainDrive and bringing me up to speed on that. And I created a
Intro to BrainDrive for devs.
yes, which is my attempt to explain it to myself, but also, I think one of the things that we've learned from trying to get developers who are unfamiliar with BrainDrive up and going as contractors is they're sort of missing the big picture completely about what this is and how it fits together. Um, so I've tried to really simplify this, and I have a reader that I use, and my goal was to get it when it's reading it out loud to be less than 2 minutes. So
There you go.
taking an hour and 20-minute conversation and distilling it down to 2 minutes. So, I've set, let me just share here. So, I think originally we talked about explaining BrainDrive as, allows you to build workflows in minutes instead of months, which I
Mhm.
still like and I'm still using. But I think that also kind of puts us in the N8N category, which is like really just a piece of what we're doing, but not
Yeah.
the whole picture, right?
Yep.
And so really, I think it's not just a chat GPT alternative, it's a big tech AI system alternative, but I think everybody knows chat GPT, and I think like that's what this is. It's meant to be a chat GPT alternative that makes it easy to build, control, and benefit from your own AI system. So I don't know what you think about this as
Yep.
like the one sentence.
You have to go with the low hanging fruit there because, like you said, if you went with NAN, Make, Zaper, whatever one version of that you filled in, number one, I do believe you lose a lot of what trying to describe what BrainDrive is because it
Right.
has interfaces that you can absolutely control. You can build, you can make puzzles. Uh,
Right.
but at the end of the day, as we talk the core, you are going to send a message to an AI.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah. So then I say BrainDrive gives you a chat interface for running local and API based AI models. I think I should say self-hosted here. Well, BrainDrive gives you
Yep.
a chat interface for running local and API based AI models, a plugin manager to easily search existing and add new plugins to your BrainDrive,
Yep.
a page builder to create custom interfaces using your own and other publicly available plugins.
Mhm.
It's the WordPress of AI. Install
Yep.
BrainDrive, add your plugin, ship your feature. Uses your own personal AI system and or build AI powered products and services to offer to others, all under your ownership and control with no big tech lock-in. And now I'll have to put personas in here, but
Yeah.
so that's you know I'm hoping when people see this, they'll sort of get like, okay, like this is a chat GPT type system that I own and control. It's open source and I can build these interfaces on top of it,
Yep.
right? Um, and then the BrainDrive tech stack.
Yep.
Front end React 18 handles UI and plugin loading. Back end Fast API provides all data and services. Plugins React components with module federation. That's from AI module federation. You've
Yep.
said modular federation. I don't know if we.
I might say it by accident just because I use modulars in my head when I think
Yeah.
about these
But
concepts. So
module federation
yep.
is the right terminology.
Yep.
Okay. Plugins communicate through service bridges, pre built connectors that handle all complex interactions. So plugin, service bridge, core front end, back end API. This architecture eliminates 90% of typical development work. You just call simple methods like service.api get, and BrainDrive handles the rest. Is that accurate?
Yep, it, as a coder, I would have tons of details, but as a basic outline of what it does, it's perfect.
Okay.
Because we're trying to be under 2 minutes, not me going off on a tangent in 65 minutes.
Correct. So when building on BrainDrive, you don't have to worry about the front end core architecture. It's already built. Back end
Yep,
infrastructure, fast API handles everything. Multi user authentication systems included. Theme management, automatic light dark mode, database design. Your data persists automatically. All you need to know is basic React for your UI components and which API endpoints to call.
perfect.
Okay. This is really the meat of our conversation, but I felt like people needed to see the system first.
Yeah. And the screenshots help kind of that connectivity to what the words are.
Yeah. Okay. And then what you can build on BrainDrive. When building on BrainDrive, the only limit is your imagination. Examples include custom AI chatbots with specialized knowledge, AI-powered productivity tools, data analysis dashboards, workflow automation systems, custom UI for specific AI models, all under your complete ownership and control. No big tech lock-in.
Yep.
And then I have the BrainDrive Quick Start Developer Guide. Step one, install BrainDrive locally or on the host of your choice. Link to the install file. Review included plugin examples. Download the plugin template with that README. Customize the plugin template to build your own plugins. Add your plugins to BrainDrive via the one-click install. Arrange and connect your plugins on a page via BrainDrive Studio.
Good. Other than I want to provide probably some links for the review, included plugin
Yes.
examples.
Yeah,
Yep.
100%. Yep. Um, and actually, probably we can just do download the plugin template, link directly to the GitHub, and then customize the template to build your own plugins. Go to the README.
Yep.
Um, okay. And then get your AI powered workflows up and running in minutes instead of months and with no big tech lock in. And then BrainDrive community, join our community of those working together to build the future of user owned AI. Ask questions, share ideas, get support, and hear directly from BrainDrive's co creators.
Perfect. If a developer can't figure out from there, um, I'm going to wonder.
Do you feel like there's anything missing from this?
From this and what its goal is, no.
Right, because this is just meant like, what the
Yep.
hell is this? And
Yep.
like, why in the hell would I want to use it? Right.
Exactly. A developer wants, hey, skip, give me the TLDR of what Brain Drive is, how can I get it running, and what can I do with it? And in 2 minutes, there you go.
Yeah. So, and this part here, the brain drive tech stack, um, you in terms of plugins communicate through service bridges,
Yep.
pre-built connectors that handle all the complex interaction, plugin service bridge, core front end, back end API. It would seem like this sentence you winced a little bit on.
Well, only because A, there's a question mark missing, but that's just me coding in my head when I see code. It's like, no, because that'll follow on, you'll end up falling on your sword on that one. And it's like, because more data kind of goes there, like you have code before it, you have code after it. But at the end of the day, like I said, this is 2 minutes. This
Yeah.
is just a little, really quick. That's all you're doing. You are just talking to the bridge when you want to do something with the core. You're not
Okay,
having to
one
code
thing that
it.
I could put in here is the code for the Hello World plugin. That's one AI recommendation. It said put in the code for the Hello World
Yep.
plugin right here to
So
show people how to.
I will do a Hello World plugin like I wanted to do and hand you just the code that's necessary, and I'll keep it concise, not pretty or perfect. It'll be just as small as humanly possible. This is all you need to do.
Yeah. And that you think that would speak better to developers than just this sentence here?
Yeah, I do, especially a developer standpoint, because they'll be like, okay, oh wow, I can do that.
Example, right? So
Yep.
like right here will be example plugin. Hello World.
Yep. And in fact, I no, it's not a complete example. So, but we're really close already. I won't even it won't even take me but less than an hour to make it look like what it needs to look like.
Actually, I'll
And
put that here. Or maybe at the bottom. I don't know. I'll figure out where to put
yep,
that. But okay. So yeah, again, so one, I think so a couple other thoughts as I was developing this for discussion. One is I think video, I think we got excited about video because we had a lot of success with our open web UI videos.
yep,
But I think that was the wrong place to go with this for a couple reasons. One is um, what we're doing is changing a lot,
yep.
and we don't want to have to go back and update videos regularly. Well, the first thing actually is they're time consuming for you
Yeah.
personally, right? And you're very time constrained.
Yeah.
Um, the developer videos,
Yeah.
right? Uh, the second thing is they're you can't update them, right?
True. Yep.
And then the third thing is I think developers and well, we know AI, but and
Yeah.
I think developers as well prefer text because it's easy to skim, it's easy to read and go through. And then finally, like once we have like we know from the videos that we've done so far that we just need to be more structured about what's in the video, and the
Mhm.
perfect way to do that is to have the text exactly how we want it first and then do the video,
Yeah, because
right?
like you did a 2 minute read through of the document. It's perfect, and a developer can he can scan it really fast. He can stop and look where it's important, run through where it's not, if he knows module federated, he goes through, he knows what bridges are, skips over those
Right.
kind of things and stops where, okay, I don't know what that is. Let me read that a little closer. Whereas a video, not just looking from our standpoint, but some people, you see a 10-minute video and the first thing they do is next.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
where video I think video works better for non-developers in some cases because they don't know enough to like skim and jump around and all
Yep.
that, and they really do need to be like handheld and walk through exactly what this is, which is why I think we had, and we'll do those
Yep.
videos, for BrainDrive. But I
Yeah,
think
and for
starting
Katie though, that's
yeah,
videos are perfect because she can, for and anybody you're doing a new system, you can follow along.
right.
Oh, that's what my screen should look like. Okay, let me
Right.
pause it right there. Let me catch up. Or I went to a wrong place. Stop. That kind of thing. And they're in
Right.
control of that entire educational process.
Right. Okay, great. So yeah, so now I feel like I have my head around this now in
Yeah.
terms of being able to explain this simply. And I guess, in our final, sort of 10 minutes or so here, well, I guess let's talk about what we want to work on in the coming weeks, and then we can, if we have a little extra time, we can talk about service bridges, which I had some questions about.
Okay. Let's see. Next week or the next on code A, I have one issue to fix that I found this right before we were coming on the video. And that I'm not expecting any big issues from. I have one remaining issue for 5, I believe, on the roadmap, and that is the page context, making sure it's being saved so that you can jump from device to device, and it'll remember where you were and stuff like that, and you can get back to it. And then I move into the dashboard, where I'm going heading anyways, because every time I see it now, it's like, I don't like you. We have a lot more going
Ah,
on. We have a lot more going on than what it displays. And it's time for it to catch up with the rest of the application.
okay, so I'll just say complete 0.5 and start on 0.5.5.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, we had another developer who I don't think understood, what the system is, which is another reason why we created this document,
Yep.
which will hopefully help explain it. But they asked for a Figma design, and we did talk about like, are you envisioning that people shouldn't need a Figma design to do this, or that's helpful, or what?
I cannot see. Okay. If they understand what we're doing, And that's why I think maybe it's a language barrier or some barriers like that. Okay. Because the entire concept is, hey, we have an Alama plugin setting plugin up and running. It works. Here's the code. You can tear it apart.
Right.
Your objective, if you choose to accept it, Mission Impossible, it will be to take that design, create an open AI version,
Yep.
and be able to put in the API
So
key.
the Olama, the reason, if I'm understanding correctly, the reason you're saying we don't need a design for this specific plugin is because we already have an example plugin, which is the design.
And we're not talking about just redesigning Word or something like that. There's
Yeah.
only two pieces of information. Yes, I'm using OpenAI, and yes, here's my API key.
Yeah.
It, if you need a Figma design for that, quit what you're doing.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's like because you can see, like I said, if you're in my mind, it's like, okay, I'm going to make mine look like yours because this is an application.
Yeah.
I'm an application developer. I don't even have to ask you if you want this to look weird. I know you don't.
Right.
Those kind of things. And it's like, hey, let's put this together.
But
And it's
if
like,
it's a new plugin where we don't have an example, then doing a design is probably needed.
and a new concept. It's like there's no example sitting there. You know the style we want, but what we're looking for is kind of completely different type of like that. Then it's like, hey, let me take 2 seconds, let me get on Figma or something and put the design together of where my mind is at, and type such. Uh, if I'm going to do a Figma design as small as this plugin is, I would code it myself because I could work faster doing that than, and I know, but that's not our objective. Our objective is to get developers, and so we can learn from that.
Right. Right. Okay, great. All right. And so for me, I need to make sure I get the trademark extension done
Yep,
since we don't have a commercial product yet for this week. And then I want to continue working on documentation. Either be one, maybe making some changes to the root README based on what we just discussed,
yep,
in terms of just general overview information. Maybe not, but just I want to take a fresh look through all the documentation and see, like, do I understand all of this now? And just either one, if I do understand it, hopefully help you make some updates to areas that need to be updated.
yep.
And if I don't understand it, use that as further conversation
And
starters.
come up with a, and we come up with a list of, I'll call it pointed topics for
Yeah.
documentation,
Yeah.
because then I want to look at how I can go through the system, the actual code, and come up with the documentation needed for that. So that whether you're a developer, you're Katie, it points you in the right direction so to get you started.
Yeah, and I think, for now, we're talking about the GitHub, and I think it's only Adam, right? Like
Yep,
Katie's not going to be going to the GitHub. And so this is really like, if you're a developer, how can we get you up and running on this as quickly as possible and building whatever you want to build on
yep.
top of it? And excited about it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Because I
So
love this. It's like it's like, hey, this weekend was fun for me. It was
yeah.
like,
Okay. And then I also have, but actually both Navneet, who's working on our model match
yep,
product and project, and Beck, who is working on our chat with your documents project, were out last week. They're back this week. I have
okay,
a call with Beck at 12, and Navneet should have something to show me sort of mid this week on the next steps for model match. So we'll have more to discuss and show on the call next week with model match and chat with documents. Do you think that the system's ready for Beck to build the chat with documents plugin or not yet?
um, it's got to be really close. He would expose issues that I don't know exist, or things of that nature. Where the unknown would be is the provider, because I do not know what he's looking to accomplish in the back end provider. And that's why I offered, is like, hey, if he handled, however, was it going to be MCP or just straight API, or was it going to coexist? If he can answer
Yeah,
those
maybe I
questions,
can get him to just join a call with our call
yeah,
tomorrow or something like that. Okay. And
be-
then also, on another positive note, we have Matthew, who built
yep,
BrainDrive Concierge for us. committed to working 20 hours a week with us, and he's starting on the Olama plugin enhancements. And also, I had a good conversation with him and told him, we really want a developer perspective on the documentation and where we have holes and how we can improve
Yep.
and all that. So that should really help. And I'm actually gonna now that I'm straight on this, I'm gonna give the API plugin to the developer that we looked at that had cloned the
The
repo.
repo. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll hopefully keep moving on that. The so Matt hopefully Matt done with Olama enhancements, and then new dev for API plugins. Okay. Um, great.
I'm
Um,
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I have some other stuff to talk about, but I think we're almost up on an hour, so we'll
Yep.
end the live stream here. As we said, we do these calls every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, stream live on YouTube, and the recordings are posted later today, later Monday afternoon on the community forums at community.braindrive.ai. We'd love to hear from you either during the live stream with any questions or comments or ideas, as well as on the forum. So be sure to visit us over at community.braindrive.ai or at our the BrainDrive YouTube channel. And we'll see you next week.
Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.
Just in time for mail to come and the dogs to bark.
Oh.